Let's talk about some of these enemies, man. Some of the new enemies that appeared in The Last of Us 2, I think, create a very interesting case for this next game, for The Last of Us 3. I think, in particular, I want to talk a little bit about the Rattlers. Now, we run into the Rattlers in this last portion of the game, the very, very last portion of the game. And I think that Naughty Dog was onto something with these guys. I think these guys were very much so a lot more dangerous, if not a little bit more dangerous than the Seraphites and what they were doing. And I thought that just seeing certain concepts with the Rattlers taking the clickers and the infected and imprisoning them and forcing their prisoners, their slaves, to get in contact with them and make them do horrendous things. I think that was genius, and I really feel like we can do a little bit more. Naughty Dog can do a little bit more in expanding that concept that they introduced from The Last of Us 2. Very, very a good sub action that can be seen there. And I think when I really think about what Naughty Dog can do, I feel like it's definitely going to be speaking a little bit more to the horror of what we're looking at that could potentially put Naughty Dog over the top and just keep them in that A-list when you're talking about the action sequences, the horror sequences of the infected in this third game. You guys got to let me know in the comments what you think. I think we can really let our imaginations run wild. I think that in certain sequences, if you want to take my example for display, some of the sequences that we saw when it came down to Abby's playthrough and when she was going through the Seraphites camp, and when you saw the battle between the wolves and the Seraphites, I think you can kind of apply that with the Rattlers if they wanted to continue that sort of thing going on in the next game. We kind of probably have potential to go that way when Ellie freed the Rattler prisoners in the last portion of the game, but we didn't hear anything. We didn't see anything. All we heard was Ellie running through the destruction that was going on. She was well away from the camp and on her way to get into her final battle with Abby. But I think that there's a strong case for these guys to be a big deal in the third game. Let me know what you guys think. What do you want to see the Rattlers kind of encase in their nature in this third game?